I promise, this right here is the video you need to watch to understand cue ball control. We will talk about straight-in shots, but we will also cover shots with an angle. What you can do is if you're just hitting the middle of the cue ball, no spin, what happens is the cue ball will just follow a tiny bit because the cue ball rolls forward. This means it wants to go into the same direction as the object ball, right? What else can you do? You can hit high on the cue ball, and if you're hitting high, you will generate even more forwards rotation. So this means the cue ball does not only roll, it spins forward, and that forward spin you can see wants to make the cue ball go into that direction. You can also play a stop shot. This means you're going to hit a bit below center, and in that case, the cue ball just stops in place. And the reason for that is you are hitting the ball full in the face. This means you're transferring 100% of the energy from the cue ball to the object ball, and the cue ball is just sliding when it hits the ball. It doesn't roll forward, it doesn't spin, it has no rotation on itself. It transfers 100% of the energy to the object ball, and this is why there is zero energy left, and this is why it stops. We also have the draw shot. If we're hitting maximum low on the cue ball, the cue ball will come back into the opposite direction. And this is because now the cue ball still transfers 100% of its energy, but the cue ball has backwards rotation on impact, and this is what makes the cue ball move. Now imagine let's start with just a tiny bit of an angle. The first thing we're going to talk about is the stop shot, because it's the easiest one to predict. If you're now playing a stop shot, the cue ball won't just stop in place, because now the cue ball doesn't transfer 100% of its energy to the object ball. Before, you can see we're hitting it full in the face, but if the cue ball comes with an angle, and of course we need to hit the same point on the 11 ball, it's always that point no matter from where you're coming. But if you're coming from here, you can see we're just hitting a fraction of the ball, and this is why not 100% of the energy is transferred to the object ball. Of course, the straighter you are, the more energy you're transferring, the more angle you're having, the less energy you're transferring, because you're just hitting a smaller and smaller portion of the object ball. This is really important to understand. But what happens with the cue ball? If you now play a stop shot where the cue ball would just stop on a straight-in shot, what happens if you're having an angle? Well, the cue ball follows the tangent line. And the tangent line, we covered that in a previous video, is a very simple concept. You're shooting into this direction. This is everything that's important. You want to know in what direction the object ball is going to travel. And all you need then is to put just a 90-degree line from that line. You can see this is a 90-degree angle. And on a stop shot, the cue ball will always travel along that 90-degree angle. So just imagine it like this. Object ball goes into this direction, we have the 90-degree angle, cue ball goes into that direction. So just a stop shot, this means the cue ball is sliding. And now the cue ball travels perfectly along that tangent line. This is very important. If we now give ourselves just a bit more angle. So now the cue ball will travel along the same line. The tangent line is still the same because the object ball still goes into that direction. And this is the 90-degree line. The only thing that's gonna be different, I'm gonna hit with the same speed, same rotation. You can see the only thing that is different, the cue ball now travels further without hitting harder. And why is that? Well, remember, we did transfer less of this energy from the cue ball to the object ball, and this is why the cue ball travels further. If we would, for example, have the 8 ball down here, we could just use the tangent line. Let's say we have very little angle. This means you would need to hit very hard, travel down table, perfect shot on the 8 ball.
Now I got a question for you. Where will the cue ball go if you're hitting maximum low now?
Well, let's first play it and then I'm gonna explain what exactly happens. Take a guess, by the way, where it's gonna hit. You can see now the cue ball doesn't come back like this, but it goes further to here. And there is a simple explanation for that. So when we're hitting the ball, the cue ball initially always, no matter what you're doing, wants to travel along the tangent line. But then what happens is the cue ball has spin and travels to here. The spin starts to grab on the cue ball and then brings the cue ball back into that direction. So if you're having very little angle, you could, for example, maybe bring the cue ball to here. Just like that. This is not possible if you're having more angle. So just a tiny bit more. Let's play a draw shot here. And all of a sudden the cue ball goes like this distance further to the right. And the thing is, the more angle you're giving yourself, the further the cue ball is gonna drift to here. I'm gonna play one more shot and maybe you're gonna spot something which is very interesting. So, did you see what happens? Little angle, we were able to hit here. With more angle, we were able to hit here. So the more angle you're giving yourself, the more the cue ball will travel along the tangent line. This is the only thing you need to understand. Zero angle, you can see the cue ball goes all the way back. So once again, we have a 90-degree difference to the tangent line. And the more angle you're getting on the ball, the closer the cue ball is gonna travel along the tangent line. This is very, very important. Let me show you what's gonna happen with high. And the good news is it's the same concept. So let's play a follow shot here. You can see how close I could hit to that rail. Now just a bit more angle from here to here. Still a follow shot. And we're only able to hit the cue ball here again.
But now the big question is, what if we keep the same angle and just play the shot at a different speed?
Once again, let's see where I can draw the cue ball back if I'm hitting soft. I can pretty much bring the cue ball to here. Now, if I would put up the same angle, just like that, and I would hit harder this time, would this mean I can generate more backwards rotation? So would this mean I can draw the cue ball a bit closer to here? Well, let's find out, and then I'm gonna tell you why. Did you see how far the cue ball hit down here this time? Even though I had more speed and more backwards rotation on it? The thing is, it takes the cue ball a bit to grab on the cloth. And the faster the cue ball is traveling, the longer it takes to actually grab on the cloth. And this is what happens when you're hitting hard. So when you're hitting soft, the cue ball travels to here and the spin almost immediately grabs and brings the cue ball to here. If you're hitting harder, the cue ball might even jump a bit, but it will definitely slide along the tangent line longer before the spin finally grabs and brings the cue ball to here. So you will have that kind of curve that the cue ball is making. So you can actually make the cue ball curve around the table if you're hitting harder. That's the same principle if you're hitting high. So let's play that shot softly with high. Cue ball hit here once again. Now the same shot. Harder with high. Same amount of spin, same contact point on the cue ball. And now the cue ball hit here again. And there is one more shot we didn't cover yet because we can also roll the ball in. But the thing you have to understand, when you're rolling the ball in, you don't want to hit hard because if you're hitting really hard, the cue ball is going to slide. So you can only generate a rolling ball if you're hitting really soft. And then it will pretty much not be 100% like a follow shot, but it just will roll forward. It will never drop back because it's just rolling naturally over the table. You can see this ball is rolling now. You can play it from a bit further away. You can see it's a rolling ball that is similar to a follow shot. All right, now let's have finally some practical examples how we can use all those principles in a real game scenario. We want to get from this ball to the 8 ball, I would say somewhere around here because obviously this pocket is blocked. What could we do? So if we ask ourselves what the tangent line does, we will see that the tangent line is pretty much going to here. So we want to leave the tangent line into that direction, right? So I'm going to play the shot and I'm going to hit low on the cue ball. And I don't really have a nice shot on the 8 ball, right? So what was the problem here? Well, the thing I did here is I hit maximum low on the cue ball, so I was drawing the cue ball way too much. So I have two options. First option is if I'm hitting harder this time, remember the cue ball drifts further to here and then comes back. So let's try the shot if we're hitting harder and drawing the ball. Well, We brought the cue ball further to here, but once again, we don't have a nice shot on the 8 ball. So we can't do that. So maybe what we could do is, instead of hitting maximum low on the cue ball, maximum draw, we could just use a tiny bit, because drawing the cue ball doesn't mean you have to do the absolute maximum. You can also just hit a tiny bit below center, because then there won't be that much draw, which brings the cue ball to here. There will be less draw, which means the cue ball will also deviate less from the tangent line. And this is what we want to accomplish. We want to pretty much just bring it to here. So we just need to hit a fraction below center. And of course, remember, you have to hit hard because we have so little angle. Once again, we want to get from here to the 8 ball, and usually we could just use the tangent line, but you can see this time the tangent line is blocked. So what could we do? If we are able to go out like this, so leave the tangent line, hit the rail here with the right speed, the cue ball should go to here, and we're having a nice shot on the 8 ball. So let's play high on the cue ball and try to do that. And this is no good shot on the 8 ball. So you should know by now what I did wrong here. So first of all, what I did wrong is, with that angle and high, you should know that we're gonna hit the rail right here. So in order to hit the rail here, we need less follow. We still need a bit of follow, but not maximum. So let's just hit a bit lower, just a tiny bit above center, and see what happens. And this time we could get much better position on the 8 ball. So this is what you have to do when you're almost straight. But what you could also do if you're having ball in hand, for example, instead of giving yourself that angle where you have to hit the right amount of high on the cue ball, and you can't just do maximum. Maximum is always easier to execute because you're just gonna hit maximum high or maximum low. But in that case, with that little angle, you need to hit a specific point on the cue ball to have the exact amount of forward rotation, right? Does that make sense? I hope so. So instead of being forced to do that, if you're having ball in hand, for example, give yourself more angle, because you know with more angle, remember, the cue ball will hit more here naturally, even if you're hitting maximum high. So I would say, let's give ourselves that angle, hit maximum high. And this time, a very natural, very easy and straight in shot on the 8 ball. Now we're gonna run this whole rack, 8 balls in a row, just with the principles we've learned in this video. What I like to do is I wanna have a rough plan before I start playing. And what is very important in 8 ball is I wanna have as my final ball, a ball that is not far away from the 8 ball like this, but that is close to the 8 ball. And I see this one is a really good one, because if I'm getting straight on this one, I can just roll that in, have the 8 ball into that pocket. So which ball is nicely connected to that one? Well, obviously you can see if you have this one straight in, you can play a stop shot, then you're rolling this in, then you're playing the 8 ball into here. So we decide this is our final group of balls, and we're gonna start with those balls here. And I would say let's just start with the 13 ball, because we already have that nicely set up. It's the easiest shot we have. And then just follow into the rail and a bit out for the 9 ball. So maximum high. Think about the speed you're hitting the shot with. Into the rail, and we bounced a bit out. Okay, now we're on the 9 ball. What do we want to do next? Well, if I'm making that 9 ball, I'm asking myself where the tangent line is going. The tangent line goes to here, which is no good. But we know if we're hitting a bit low on the cue ball, we can actually leave the tangent line to here, because the cue ball wants to go back, right? So if we're hitting low, bring the cue ball to here, then we can shoot the 10 ball into the corner pocket, which is nice. And we have that one as an insurance into the side pocket if we don't get a nice position on a 10 ball. So let's do that. So I'm gonna play a draw shot, trying to get a straight in shot on the 10. So let's see what angle we have. Well, it's almost straight. We have a bit of an angle. If we follow the tangent line, we can see we're going out like this, which would be okay. So I think I'm gonna just play a stop shot here, a really soft one. That's good, because now I have a nice shot on the 15 ball. It's not perfectly straight, but I think what we could do is we can just follow the ball. We're very, very straight. So very important lesson, by the way. This is basically the same shot we had here. You can see we have this one where we have a bit of an angle in the pocket. It's the same here. We have just different positioning, but it's the same angle. So you should adapt. You should be able to understand that here we're gonna hit here. This means on that shot, you're gonna hit here. So I wanna play a follow shot, come into the rail, a bit out, and leave myself not straight on this one. This is important. I wanna think ahead. This is a very important topic in pool, to actually think ahead, because I wanna give myself a bit of an angle to use the tension line to come over for this one. So just high on the cue ball. Right speed is important once again. Cue ball comes out. We have a bit of an angle. Not too much, not too little, because remember, if we had too much angle, then the cue ball has more speed and it might even travels too far over here. If we have too little angle, we have to hit really hard, which makes the pocket more missable. So once again, I'm gonna play a stop shot. I can also just try to draw the cue ball a bit like that. Both is equally fine. This looks nice. Now we have a straight-in shot on this one. Now you gotta be able to play a stop shot. Maybe a tiny bit of a draw. So remember, don't want to hit too hard. Now we can just roll that one in, not too hard, because we don't want to scratch. It's important. So play it in softly. I even had a bit of an angle so that the cue ball will never drop. Now we can make the 8 ball. So if you learned something from this video, I would highly appreciate a thumbs up. And if you want to learn more about this game, which is a really beautiful and interesting game, then subscribe to the channel and watch the next video right now. Thank you guys.